Hello everybody, I'm RENZO Mocs, and welcome again to another mock review. Yes, I know, kind of a boring video before New Year's. Anyways, it's New Year's Eve today, and I figured, hey, I've barely reviewed any mocks in 2017, so let's end off the year by reviewing a couple mocks. Here we have two mocks. Now, their names are a little bit work in progress, but I think Gorgux and Corvus, I believe. Not Corvus. Corvus sounds too much like chorus. I don't know what his name is. So he's unnamed, but he's Gorgux. But yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so here he is in all of his glory, and he's kind of posed weird. He's got his legs kind of moved a little bit awkwardly. Hold on, let me spread them out a little bit just to kind of he's in a weird pose. Maybe that's a little better. Yeah, that's a little better. But Gorgux is the I almost said crap master. He's the trash master, as I call him. That's not his official title, but I mean, it's as close as you can get. This guy is a scavenger on a planet. Basically, his species is, as you can kind of see as we zoom in here, from his head, he's got a little bit of a weird thing with his head going on. Well, the green is actually his organic parts. He is a green alien. But what he's done here is he's kind of created a metallic exos, like a suit, basically, that he walks around in. The idea is that his species is a gelatinous sort of creature. I don't know the name or anything, but I imagine he'd be very much like a gelatin blob-like creature, and that's his head. And what he can do is, as in his normal form, he is essentially just a blob. He can't really do much. He can't really move. He doesn't have any bones. But when he kind of creates his own body, he can fill out the spaces in armor or whatever and basically just take over that space. So he can, like, which explains why his arms are so puny, because he's only got tiny puny arms, because the gelatinous substance can flow through the arms and make them work. So the idea is that he's a gelatinous subject, or friggin', I don't know why I said subject. He's a gelatinous creature that's just kind of living in this exosuit of a body. Now, as you can see from the build on the legs, it's pretty unconventional. You got one, it's weird, one armor. I've never done that with an armor piece before, so it was super weird doing it for this guy. But the idea is that he basically just slapped armor together. It's not too asymmetrical, really. The only parts that are asymmetrical are the legs and the armor piece over there. But he's called the Trash Master because he's a hoarder, basically. He'll take anything. He'll basically just, like, snatch things from really anything. So he's got this big tank on the back, which I know it kind of confuses people because I said that the green was the gelatinous substance. In this case, this is not gelatinous back here. This is an actual tank. In canon, I guess you could imagine that being a different color or whatever. I just thought it looked cool and it fit the color scheme. So he's got this little flag here, which doesn't really mean anything. Probably says something else in alien language. I don't know. It's from the water mech. So it's technically Ninjago. But inside there, I don't want to open it, but there's a lot of different little bits of system parts and just things that, okay, I can kind of open. Yeah, you can start to see a bunch of different things in there. Just random friggin' things, like little guns, things that are out of scale. I just thought, you know, I don't know why a piece of hair is in there, but it just works because he collects trash and that's what he does. He brings it back home. This character was very much inspired by the character from Star Wars Force Awakens. I think his name is Unkar Plutt or whatever. I don't know. He appeared in the movie for, like, I don't even know. Very much inspired with his shape and overall aesthetic. You know, he's got this big, beefy body. These little tiny legs here. I like the build. I really wanted to use this piece as a giant chest plate for something, and I did it. I actually really like the neck shape. It builds up the neck to be quite larger than it actually is. And of course, he's got these spiked hair. You could say that's part of his species, maybe. I think that's just something he did himself. He's got a little bit of a breathing tube there, which he can lift up, and that axle hole is supposed to be his mouth, so that looks really freaking goofy. He's got these bug eyes. I love random little aliens like this. And that's kind of a breathing apparatus. Even though it doesn't touch his mouth per se, I guess, I don't know what it would really help him with. Maybe maintaining the goop or whatever in his body. I have no freaking idea. But he's also got this staff. Now you've probably seen this before, at least in my Mocs. The idea is that that is literally a fairy staff. So he kind of just stole that from a fairy. Like, again, he lives in a junkyard, so he just kind of steals whatever is thrown out. So he stole a fairy staff, which is why he and Zawari have pretty much identical staves, because he just stole it from a junkyard. There's yellow in there. The yellow isn't really anything important, really. It's not supposed to be like actual skin. It's more or less just more junk. Also, if you notice on this armor piece, right? Not sure if you can see too well, but on this armor piece, there's a little bit of a, let's see if I can get a better, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but there's a little bit of pink in there. Well, that was caused by my brother. He accidentally got putty stuck in a lot of these pieces. So, you know, that actually works incredibly well for the sort of junkyard aesthetic that this character has, you know, because he's got rusty armor, and that would make perfect sense. But yeah, that's really it for Gorgux the Trash Master. I really like this guy. I think he's got a fun build. You know, he's got a fun character. He's not meant to be a big villain or anything, just kind of a one-off side villain. So yeah, I like him. Okay, so next up we have the unnamed villain, who I called Corvus, mostly because I like that name, and I was just trying to steal the name from Corvus Glaive. Unfortunately, Corvus sounds way too much like Chorus, so I wouldn't want a villain named Corvus and then Chorus. So as of now, he's unnamed. He doesn't have a name. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll have a name. Definitely. He's going to be a bigger character. And if you, any observant fans out there, you'll notice that this guy was in RENZO episode 3. He was kind of chilling out in the back, or not episode 3, he was in the Christmas special. He was chilling out in the background of one of the scenes when they were on the moon planet, which I don't remember what I called it again. Yeah, I don't remember the name of it. I don't remember, whatever I called it, you know, he was there, and he's kind of a bounty hunter, which is why he's got all this gear. So let's take a look at him. His build is very much inspired by Lennox Caroso. I really liked his build, and I wanted to do something with him. As you can see, his head, he's got these horns, which I really like. I really wanted to use this mask for something. I really like it. Very bug-like. Like, I imagine this character being very insectoid, not with his build so much, but more or less with the idea of him. I imagine him having a rough, like shell-like skin and being more insectoid. He's even got a little spike hanging off of there. He's got the same neck build as Lennox, so you can get some pretty gross articulation, but I mean, as long as it basically sits over like this, it looks fine. It doesn't look too bad. It sits forward a lot, but I mean, it's not that bad. He's got a little bit of a bandolier going on there, and it just kind of stops. I don't really know what the purpose of that was. I don't think it would be full of anything. I think he would just kind of carry it around. Oh, no. Okay, never mind. In story, as you can see, he's got this thing going on. Now, what is this thing? This is a cannon arm. So, he does have the idea is that he does have an actual hand under there. It's not like he's missing a hand. But it's such a high-powered thing. And the ammunition is really expensive. So, he kind of carries it around in little capsules at a time, and the capsules fuel this thing a lot, and it can open up, and that's how the build is pretty weird in there. I was just kind of stacking things together to see where I could go with this giant cannon thing. And the funny thing is, it only shoots out of that tiny little hole, but it can generate a lot of energy, which is why the capsules do enough work. Only problem is the capsules are really expensive, and I haven't built them yet, but I probably will. I mean, I kind of have to, so yeah. I wanted this piece to be the same color as this. I don't think that exists, though, so too bad. And all the orange is supposed to be his skin. I know there's, like, pockets on this piece or whatever, but I don't know. Use your imagination. Maybe he just, like, strapped something there. I don't know. And he's also got blue underskin, which is kind of gross, but, I mean, kind of cool. He's also got this big deal weapon, which can be used as a hook, can be used as a blade, can be used as a friggin'... It's a machine. It's definitely more, it's not just a big fancy silver weapon. It would be using for like grabbing. He could pinch things with this. He could clamp down on stuff if he wanted to, if he flipped it around. It's very multi-use. There's even got a silver backpack on the back there. well, a place where he'd keep most of his ammunition, and his legs are really freaking weird. Oh yeah, he's got the Darth Vader torso, which means he's got that silver piece right here. I like the Darth Vader torso a lot, but it doesn't really work well for conventional Mocs. But I don't know, I see it more as like, oh look, he's got gear there. Now his legs are weird because they just kind of stop, and the idea is that he's more of an insectoid, so he's got these little heels there he'd walk around on, and you'd think his posability would be horrible, but he stands up just fine. You have to get him posed right. If his heels are not at the right angle or whatever, he will fall over. But look at him. He's got a giant gun. He's got a giant sword, and he only falls off if you push him. But, I mean, his heels do a good job at kind of stopping that. I know his legs kind of look gimpy. I've been meaning to kind of add more to those, but, I mean, these are supposed to be like boots, but they're made for him, so he just kind of... He doesn't even have feet, really. He's just got these little gross little heel things going on, which I like. I tried giving him feet, and it just didn't work. Like, it didn't look right. His legs were way too long, especially to use this style. Like, for instance, he's got this style of armor, which just doesn't fit. But yeah, this is just an unnamed villain. It's just an unnamed villain, really. I don't have a name. I don't have much developed for his character. Yeah, he's cool. I like him. Anyways. So here we have Trashmaster and Unnamed Villain. I like them both. I like Gorgux a little bit more because he's a bit more unique. You know, you can look at him and he's like, all right, I get it. You know, he's got a character to him. The other dude's just a randy. He really has not much of a purpose. I don't even have a big character plan for him. I don't even have a name for him. That's the thing, though. Renzo has a lot of villains, and you can't flesh them all out. You know, it's going to be hard to flesh them all out. You get the basic idea of most of their characters, but for the most part, you know, what else is there to do, you know? But I love both of these guys, and that is pretty much it for villains that I can review on Renzo. I've got a couple more built up, but those I specifically can't show for spoiler reasons. I would if I could, but again, I really can't. But I would, you know, I will, if possible. I had a lot of fun building him, that's for sure. This guy kind of came out of nowhere, but I've had this guy built for so long. He's just kind of been sitting around, and I've been kind of waiting to review him, but I've been kind of putting it off. I don't know. I built him for some reason. I like the idea of building some sort of big exosuit, and I had a character like this planned, where it was like a worm. He'd have a worm head, and this giant exosuit. That's kind of the idea, and he's kind of a gelatinous blob, and I love him. This guy, not so much, but I mean, he's cool too. He's a villain. I like villains. But that's really all I can review for RENZO Mocs, this year at least. This is probably going to be the last review of 2017, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I appreciate it, and there will be more mock reviews to come. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye. I just said that. Happy New Year's, everybody.